Welcome to the Orlando Lions Den Podcast, your number one Orlando City podcast. For the fans, by the fans. For the fans, by the fans. Keeping you in the know on all things Orlando City since 2018.
Hello. Welcome to another edition of Orlando Lions Den. Snapping myself into it. Sorry for the wrong words on the intro. My system, I guess. I don't know. It's got to be the system because this is working fine. The video, which never works flawlessly. So, I don't know. Anyways, it's episode 27 of season 7 tonight. Just talking about we've been off for a couple weeks, talking about the last two matches, and looking forward to the home match this weekend. So glad to have you with us. Thank you guys for joining us tonight on another edition of Orlando Lions Den here with our usual suspects. We got our man Alex, the Ghost Rider. How you doing down there in Naples, my man?
I'm back. It took a little bit of a break. Traveled abroad. Went to Ireland. Wrong side. Got to watch Florida State. Which, Alex, I do need to apologize. I've been to 2 Florida State games and they've lost both of them. So
it's okay. It wasn't your fault. We just suck.
Well, yeah, it's a rough year. Michigan lost 2. Somehow the Bears won. It's been a weird week and a half for football, but I'm good. Good to be back. Good to be talking soccer again. I haven't talked to you guys. Haven't talked to the fans since before the end of Leagues Cup. It's been a minute, and I feel like the season kind of just ended and now it's restarting again. So good to be back. Good to talk about some footy.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping the season just ended when we got our butt spanked against Kansas City. I thought, yeah, this is definitely a wash. But here we are again. And then talking about the positives. Speaking of positives, there aren't many for our man Mike down there, the resident Giants fan.
Hey, man, go Knights, okay? At least we got a run for being one of the best college football team in Florida. It's between us and Miami. And that's about where the joy ends because, man, I'm not going to talk about my New York football Giants. Whatever I saw on Sunday was an embarrassment, and any other Giants fans that are also Orlando City fans, if we need a support group or something, just hit me up. We'll go ahead and get it started. This podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. It's not really, but Giants fans definitely need therapy. What's up?
Yeah, the only thing uglier than Daniel Jones throwing more touchdowns in the last year and a half to other teams than his own team is their uniforms on Sunday.
They were bad, man. Like I said, just red pants. They would have been fine. But they went with the tan, and sometimes it looked like they just weren't wearing pants at all. But the only thing that Daniel Jones has going for him is that apparently Kay Adams loves him. And I guess that's better than, some people can be doing. So I guess feather in your cap as far as that goes. If you know NFL, you know Kay Adams most likely. But as far as football goes, that is not something that is going for him. He's not good at it.
Yeah. He's also got $160 million going for him. So
I mean, I guess that's something that's positive. I don't know. New York taxes aren't great, but whatever. That's a different conversation.
I want to get paid $160 million to be that bad.
Mike, I had to christen you into the Ocho.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's just a rite of passage to put up enough points to beat everybody else in the league and lose. So I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm not really sorry. So there's a reason that this is sitting on the desk right here.
Just for context for you writers, since that's the league that he asked me to join this year. That's a higher buy-in, and you also get a weekly prize for being the highest scoring team. So to be the second highest scoring team and lose to the top scoring team was pretty rough.
Yeah. Mike not only lost $75, but he lost too. So.
Well, hey, like I said, as I was counting down, man, you're number one. I really appreciate that. You're doing great.
You got it out of the way early.
Yeah, got it out of the way. Sorry for our video viewers. That was that should have been censored, but
Fruity sign language.
Yeah, our video editor took the week off. So
I don't even. Is that Cleon? Because he takes all the weeks off.
no, it's usually me, but I ain't doing nothing about it.
All right, let's get into our. Thank you guys again for joining us tonight. We'll get into our sponsors. We got Leo at the Epic Mortgage team, powered by You Mortgage. Look at his QR code. Give him a call, 407-844-7696. Applywithleo.com. One of my best friends, and rates are coming down. If you bought a house in the last 6 months to a year, and you're getting to wonder about refinances as rates go down heading into this wonderful election. I know working for the bank, we can see rates are very much expected to go down, probably a whole point in the next year. So if you're looking to refinance, if you are looking to buy or sell your house, or buy a house, make sure you go with Leo and tell him that we sent you. We don't get anything for it, but he'll definitely appreciate it. So give Leo a call. And if you are buying or selling a house, hit up our man Chad McGibbon, a huge Orlando City fan. He's a frequenter on OC Twitter. He's at Chad McGibbon, I believe, now on OC Twitter, and he can always help you out. He's got our QR code on the screen too. Look it up or shoot us a message, and we'll get you in contact with him. Use our resources that we have here, y'all, because they're going to treat you right. They're going to treat you the best they can, and they're going to treat you better than anybody else. So hit up Chad. If you're buying or selling a house, let him be your realtor. Let Leo write your mortgage, your refinance, and I promise you won't be disappointed. During that process, you're going to need home insurance too, and that's why our man Eddie is there. So you can do a one-stop shop with Orlando Lions Den. Not only home insurance, auto insurance, life insurance. Hit up Eddie with Comparion Insurance Agency. Is a Liberty Mutual company. Comparion is exactly what it sounds like. You can compare multiple different companies and make sure that you are getting the best price and have the best coverage on your insurance. So that way you're just not walking around with stuff that you don't know what it is. He'll be able to explain it to you and tell you his recommendation to make sure that that you're protected against anything that can happen. Insurance, I always say, is toilet paper. It's like toilet paper. You never need it till you need it. So make sure you hit up Eddie, and he'll be able to take care of you for any of your insurance needs as well. And we got the Hourglass Brew, still TBD on a playoff watch party. We have to make the playoffs first, but something that we're going to be hoping to throw together quickly. And they're not on here, but shout out to Cappy's as well. Cappy's food truck and their location in Maitland. They've had a really tough week, kind of getting forced out of with their location and their lease. And he's working on everything as hard as he can, but it's been a real tough week for Adam. And Cappy's a staple in Orlando, 52 years. They've had their location there, and it's looking like Saturday it's probably going to be their last day in business. So if you, at least in their physical location. So if you can make it out there, I know they had a long line this morning. They had a lot of people out there to support and have gotten some traction on the local news stations. But please, please, please hit up Cappy's if you can the next couple of days. I know Saturday, once they run out of food, they're done. So go there, get there early, and support Adam. And Cappy's a good friend of ours. He's in our fantasy league through Manscaped League One, and just a guy that's always supported the pod. And we hate to see it happen to him, but we're happy to see all the support that he's gotten in the last 48 hours. So shout out to Cappy's there as well.
Yeah. Definitely bittersweet to obviously hear all that, but at the same time, seeing the community kind of rally around and the amount of people that are showing up. Obviously, you guys, if you go out to Broken Strings on game days, his food truck was always out there slinging sandwiches, occasionally with the purple bread. That was always a hit for us. Good people at Cappy's. It's a crappy situation that they're going through, but it's one of those things to keep in mind that the community lifting them up is something that hopefully is going to help them find a way to keep continuing. We've been talking with him a little bit about that, and it's just one of those things that they really feel the love right now from everybody. So they were going to be my shout out at the end of the show, but you beat me to it. I think it's actually smarter to mention it at the beginning, Alex. So good call.
And you can do the logo too.
There you go.
Yeah, they've tried. It's not give-in situation. He's worked his butt off, and they've tried to do whatever they can to keep that location. But
Yeah.
like a lot of things in Orlando, unfortunately, gentrification and the whole building 6-level apartments and maximizing land is a thing that new owners are taking to and ruining, for quite frankly, ruining what we all know is our city. So it's a sad situation, but it is nice to see the support.
Yeah, you just kind of hate to see all the land just get turned into just soulless looking apartment complexes instead of, staples that have been here for 60 years. It just stinks,
I agree. Well, what else that stunk was our loss against Sporting Kansas City. That was absolutely miserable. We've been looking at this 4-game stretch for a while, thinking we needed 10, maybe 12 points. I mean, SKC's they've been playing better, and we were on the road, but it was an ugly loss. We're not gonna talk much about it. We had a few chances. We looked decent for the first 15 minutes, if I recall correctly, and then after that, it just kind of all went downhill from there. So it was 3-0 to Sporting Kansas City. You guys have anything to add? I mean, it was to me super disappointing because everybody says, "Oh, we had 2 weeks off." So did SKC. I don't really care about the time off. They had the same amount of time off. So to me, it's a null point. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. It's not an excuse. It's not even a decent excuse, to use that. But we just didn't show up. I think we thought it was going to be a little bit easy, and we were going to play like brothers on the road, and we got our butts handed to us. You guys have anything to add to that loss?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was when Alex, I think you were in Ireland at the time.
I was actually sleeping at the time, and I woke up to the actual scoreline. I'm like, good Lord, how do we lose this badly, SKC? And I'll be honest, I haven't even watched the highlights based on what you guys told me, that it was just bad, garbage soccer. The only thing I will say is we're talking about these excuses, and on one hand, SKC is saying, oh yeah, we had a bunch of rest. We were at home, we won. And then we can say the same thing. Oh, we had rest, but we didn't utilize it. The excuses they're a dime a dozen at this point in this sport. And all I will say is this. I do think that an argument can at least be made for momentum being killed because of how much time goes. Yeah, it's an excuse, but there's something there. And I don't like how the League's Cup structures this, and it makes me crazy because then we come back, we play 1 week after that game, and then we have the international break again. And who knows how Saturday is going to go. We'll get into it later, but it's just the second half of the season just feels like it drags on forever. I haven't talked to you guys in a month, and it feels like the season just kind of ends, and then it's back on, and we have 3 games in the next 8 days, and then the scheduling's off. We could complain about scheduling in MLS until the cows come home. I'm not going to beat that dead horse anymore.
Yeah, and all I'll add to it is, as far as like, if you want to, not everyone uses to put mob scores. That's not an exact science, but like legitimately, some of our most consistent players have like probably some of their lowest scores of the season in that game. It was just rough. Like you said, the first 15 minutes, we had a little bit of something going. Then we kind of just settled into the game. 2 weeks off, we look like a team that just didn't do anything for 2 weeks rather than practiced and trained and prepared, which was obviously kind of nauseating to see, especially when you knew that like Kansas City had a very important game midweek to make sure that they won their Open Cup game, because winning their Open Cup game meant that they qualified for Champions Cup. Pretty much like it was all but certain at that point that's what that would have meant. So it was just disappointing. You expected better. And realistically, that's all I have to say. Like, they even got a red card, and then we still conceded another goal. And after they had gotten a red card, we registered no shots on goal while they're down a player. Like, it was bad. And
we gave up a goal.
Yeah, we gave up a goal and didn't even register a shot on goal. And then in contrast, I'm going to segue this for you, Alex. The exact opposite against Nashville.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, literally the exact opposite. And we blew Nashville out the water.
Blew the
But
brakes
I'm
off
going to
them.
be honest.
Yeah.
I said this on Then After Dark. Nashville is probably the worst team in the league right now. They have
Close
3
to it.
goals in the last 10 matches. They've lost 9 or 10 consecutive games. And, we get the 2 early goals, and then we kind of just dare them to score as many goals as they have in the last 8 matches against us.
I was going to
they are
say,
horrible.
as a podcast and a fan base that does kind of notoriously dislike Nashville, I also think that it's very important to bring up that in our last 5 meetings against Nashville, they have not scored on us. We have outscored them 9-0 in the last 5 games, all of which we have won.
6 of those goals coming in the last 2 games.
Yeah, the last 2 games this year, both games this year, we beat them 3-0 at their house and 3-0 at our house.
The OnlyFans Cup.
The OnlyFans Cup. It stays home.
Undefeated since then.
Never lost.
They've been god awful, man. They got a new coach, and they've still been god awful. And we did what we had to do, but to be honest, we knew what was going to happen. We knew we weren't going to see, we weren't going to know a lot more about this Orlando City team, even if we got 12 points out of these 4 games. I think we'll know more with the Charlotte, but even Charlotte's kind of reeling. They literally struck out on every single transfer target that they had in the window. They haven't been doing too hot. And I mean, we got the Revs, and we had Nashville and SKC. So granted, we need these points, but I can't say that we're going to know a lot more about this Orlando City team than we already did heading into this 4-game stretch. We can handle teams that we need to handle. We are typically good on the road, but there's the Columbus game after these next 2 at the end of next week is definitely the one that we're gonna get an idea of where we stand. I think in this, are we just going to be playing for a first round exit, or is there a chance at all that we can do anything? And seeding is super important. We don't have that on the schedule, but I mean, you look at the seeding right now, and you want to have that 4 seed because you don't want to play Miami, you don't want to play Cincinnati, and you don't want to play Columbus, and you damn sure don't want to have to beat them 2 out of 3 times in 2 of those games on the road. So getting the 5 seed is a minimum, in my opinion. And if we had the 5 seed against the Red Bulls, I think that's our really only chance at advancing out of the first round, if you want me to be honest, whether we're the 4 or the 5 seed, because if New York City goes up to that 4 seed and we got to play Yankee Stadium 2 out of 3 times, I just can't see a path forward there. We've been horrible there.
I'll be honest with you, man. Yankee Stadium might be booked in October. They might be homeless again.
Yeah,
They
that's
could
true.
go
That's our
play.
only
They
chance.
could go play in the Bronx, or not the Bronx, in Queens.
No,
Oh,
Mets are on a stretch. They're in a wild card position right now too.
Today I learned.
yeah,
Hey,
but
the Mets have been on a run. Let me have that because the Giants are terrible.
Well, we can hope that the baseball stadiums are sold out, and they have to play
They're
in
busy.
Connecticut or something.
Hey, man, I was going to say, because I don't think the Red Bulls will allow it anymore. And I mean, maybe they could go play down in Atlanta if there's no Monster Jam or anything scheduled. So
sure there is. So that's why, I mean, the match against Charlotte Saturday is going to be huge, or on Wednesday is going to be huge, because assuming we take care of business against the Revs, we look at the Charlotte match, and that's going to be for at least that 5th spot. So I mean, we're 2 points behind New York City. So if we get 6 out of the next 6, there's a good chance we're in that 5th spot after this. So standings are huge. It's about that time to look at them. I don't think we're going to be, I would knock on wood, but I think we're going to be in the playoffs. But like I said, you don't want to have to be playing, you don't want to have to be playing any one of those top 3 teams, in my opinion. Any one of those teams look like we can take them 2 out of 3. You guys think?
I mean, the one that I will say is most likely, and I just kind of jumped forward in our thing because we're talking about it now. Because realistically, there's no point in talking too much about the games, considering they're so long in the past at this point. We also all talked about it on Den After Dark. So if any of those teams I think is beatable for us, it's Cincinnati, just because of the fact that their defense has been so banged up and they've just kind of been trying to like piece it together to get by. I mean, the Shield is pretty much done. That's going to Fort Lauderdale. They're going to win that. It's whatever at this point. Doesn't really make a difference. I don't think anybody can catch them. But we got New England on Saturday, Charlotte midweek. Then we have 2 away games. We're away to Columbus, away to Dallas, then home against Philly, away to Cincinnati. Then there's another international break, and then we're at home against Atlanta to finish the season. The way that I look at it, there's only 2 games that should be a tough game in there, and that's away in Ohio, away to Columbus, away to Cincinnati. Those are the games that are going to be the challenge. Every other game that's there, especially the 4 that are at home, you have got to win those games. Like, there is no excuse. You win those games. Playoff teams win those games. Before you got in here, Alex, me and Ryder were talking about the fact of looking at last year's table. It took 43 points to get into the play-in game, 49 points to automatically get into the top 7 for the playoffs. So we need 12 points because we're sitting on 37. We need 12 points to close out the season to make sure that we're guaranteed in and not in a play-in game. We have 4 home games left. You have got to win your home games. Realistically, I think with the teams in front of us not doing well, like literally against the game against Nashville, we won and everybody ahead of us and around us all lost. Like, there is an opportunity for us to legitimately move up to 4th if we can. Yeah, I'm not saying that we can win out because, again, those Ohio games are going to be tough. But, like, if you could salvage any points out of those games and then win the other 5 that are remaining, like, there's no reason we can't move into 4th or 5th. And then just see what happens because you have momentum going into the playoffs. And if I know anything, momentum sometimes can help. Just like when we lost momentum post-Leagues Cup and then got our butts kicked in by Kansas City. So,
yeah, I think 15 points gets us a home playoff game and 10 points certified. I think it'll be 47.
Yep.
Gets us in without the play-in game.
And I tell you what, just looking at the schedule, especially with the fact that there's a big stretch in there, the one we're coming up on, 3 back-to-back games across 8 days, and then we do it all again for September to October 2nd to October 5th. That's a lot of back-to-back, little rest, the polar opposite of what we've just gone through with two weeks of rest, Leagues Cup, then the international break. It's 21 points. I do agree that 15 is kind of the bar, but if we can sneak in with even more, and I it would be nice. The Charlotte game is, I think, the biggest between now and Columbus, just because, or not Columbus, Cincinnati, because we need that 6-point swing. That getting them below us, assuming they don't lose this weekend, which I don't know who they're playing. Pull it up on FootMob real quick. And of course they aren't showing it.
They're playing Montreal.
So I think it's doable. I think getting to that 15 is doable. We just have to, there's going to be some cycling. I think people need to understand that there are going to be some different lineups we see over the next couple weeks, and there might be some hang on to your butt times where we have to grit out a win. It's not going to be winning, blowing the doors off teams and not getting blown away. And we have to actually show up. So I'm a little scared that we might look rusty again this weekend, but the fact that it's New England gives me a lot more confidence because we've manhandled them in the past and they're not a very good team this year.
Goodness, it doesn't get easier than Charlotte's schedule. They got Montreal twice, Chicago, DC, New England, and then us in Miami.
And Caleb Porter just got fined for mouthing off about the league. So, they might be in rare form right now.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Well, we'll see. I mean, we got to take it one game at a time. And New England's got to be a win, and then Charlotte's got to be a win. Those are the two that we've been looking at in this 3-game home stretch dating back to the Nashville. I mean, we've been saying that we need 9 points. There's no excuses not to have 9 points.
Especially with the 3 points we lost to Kansas City. That did put a little fire under us to actually have to perform in several of these games.
I mean, we were all livid after that. We had such high expectations for that stretch. So dropping that game 3-0 was kind of just a gut punch, honestly.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. All right. Stock up, stock down. You guys can remember the matches.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm going to let you go first, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, my easy stock up is Facundo Torres. Obviously, brace against Kansas City, or not Kansas City, against Nashville. Got himself after the snub for Copa America in good enough form to get called up for Uruguay for their World Cup qualifiers. He took that to heart. Hopefully, he has that motivation for the rest of his career now. Obviously, you don't want to miss out on a big tournament with your national team when you've been a staple for them. I hope that really something that kind of ignites his career. Granted, I know we all know that it seems like he wants to move to Europe or something at some point. You need to take that crap to heart and actually let that motivate you and keep going. But he's been playing really well. He has been for a while now. So it's hard to put his stock much higher, but getting the call up and all that, I give it to him. And my stock down is just because the green card magic is starting to wear out. Ramiro Enrique, 3 straight games without any kind of goal contribution or anything like that. Duncan came off the bench and picked up an assist. I think that especially after this break, Duncan not factoring in with any of the national teams or anything like that, I could see Duncan taking over the starting spot again this week against New England, especially given the way that their team is. They're not the most sound team defensively, and I feel like it makes a lot more sense against them to have a strong center forward to start the game and then a speedy center forward to attack tired legs late. That's always a philosophy that I've always liked. But I don't coach, I don't manage, I don't pick the lineup. That's just how I like to look at things. Go ahead and get the strong guy to wear them down, get the speedy guy to go ahead and break their will at the end. But Ramiro's been starting to slow down. The green card magic wore off. So it's not necessarily like he's been playing bad. He still plays with a lot of heart, obviously. But I think his starting spot might be on the fritz right now, personally.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point with starting Duncan and going with Ramiro. It's in a non-biased situation where if it was the beginning of the season and there was no streaks or anything or how recent form, that's definitely the way that you would want to structure it, in my opinion, is with Duncan starting off and wearing them down and then Ramiro coming in. So yeah, I gotta agree with you there. I'll get my stock down to Angulo. If I recall, against Sporting Kansas City, he was miserable.
Was very bad.
But yeah, he's just always leaves me wanting more. I don't think I've ever, especially with the team that we've had. We've had a lot of Orlando City players. He's not the worst person we've ever had or the worst winger, but I got to say he's up there for what's left to be desired all the time. There's so much room for improvement. If he had a couple of things, he would not only be the star on this team. I mean, he'd be himself be able to work around with everybody around him and move forward to Europe too. But other than that, I mean, I don't see him doing anything like that because of all the tangibles that he has. So I'll give that. And then, yeah, you got to go with Facu. I think he's got the most goals scored in MLS in the last 8 games. So
sounds right, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta go with Facu. There's no other option. I loved nothing more than when he took that ball away from Angulo and buried it off the half volley out with his left foot. Got himself a secondary assist on his own goal. If that was a thing, which I don't know why it's not, to be honest. You give secondary assist, which is a fake stat anyways. You might as well let a guy get the assist on his own goal if you're going to give him out. But that's a story for another day. So, but yeah, when he jumped in front of Angulo, man, I can't. That was a huge sigh of relief for me. And then he put it in the net. I was like, thank God he did that. Thank God. Ryder, is your stock up and down?
Stock up has to be Faku. I mean, he's now in form. I think he's been building up to this for quite some time, and the fact that he's sticking there and he's getting these braces, I think this is what, his third or fourth game of the season with a brace. Still putting me on hat trick watch. It's been over 3,200 days. I want a hat trick, just one hat trick before I die. I need it. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but stock down is based on a match I didn't even watch. I just heard Janssen had kind of a stinker against SKC. So I'll give that shout out based on a comment that I'm pretty sure Mike made. So
I think A's is really catching up to Robin.
I think it is a little bit too. And I'm kind of hoping that like I want to see a little bit more out of Percalo down this stretch, because I want him to kind of just take over and be the guy and potentially prove that he could be like the number one guy. Because I know we all have our doubts with Rodrigo Schlegel. Janssen is kind of showing age a little bit. He's still great, and most of his yellow cards are all for dissent and not for actually making mistakes. I think he did get one recently that was for a bad tackle. But yeah, it's definitely one of those situations where I think realistically, we just need a little bit stronger play from our captain and from the pillar of our defense. He has his moments. It's not like he's washed or anything like that. But yeah, we've grown to expect a little bit more from him. So it's seeing the age start to hit him is kind of a little rough, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, not only that, but his workload. The guy's played an insane amount of minutes the last 2 years. So
you need to give him a day off here and there. International break.
Yeah, I mean, these are the This is why I don't buy into the rest theory, because you can't be. I think there's not a lot of things that people can agree on, but one thing is that in world soccer everywhere they play a lot of games. These guys are putting in 40, 50 matches in 8-9 months. It's a lot of matches, and I don't think that you can be a proponent of, hey, they play too many games, and then also say, but the rest isn't good for them. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of that. I think these guys get their bodies beat up. The rest isn't good for them if they don't know how to handle it. If they don't have the right coaching staff, and if they don't have the right athletic training staff, the right research being done on how to handle the rest and how to let your body recover in the proper way, and in the way that's going to best work, so you can go out there and not feel like you're a step behind because you got too much rest, but because you're a step ahead because you got too much rest. So there's two ways that gets sliced, and for us historically, it's been the bad way, but there are other teams that you see that get a couple weeks off and they come back rejuvenated, refreshed. It's not unusual to see that. And then, a league where you're playing, we've got 34 home games. We played 4 games in the 4 games in the Champions Cup. That's 38. We played 3 in Leagues Cup. That's 41 matches plus the playoffs. It's a lot. And then the preseason, we're going to be coming up 45, 50 games. So, they got to take advantage of the rest. And I think a lot of that goes into stuff behind the scenes. And I'm not a fan of the rest excuse. Everybody gets it, number one. And number two is, if rest makes you worse, it's probably the only thing in the world that rest makes you worse is in soccer. And maybe in some sport, like college football, when they take 6 weeks off, that's a different story. But 2 weeks, I mean, come on now. That's just, you're skipping one. You're getting one bye week. That's about it. All right. You guys have anything to add?
No, pretty much hit it all.
Can you tell I absolutely hate the rest excuse? I can't stand it.
I think it was pretty clear that that's not your favorite thing in the world.
No, because when I get 8.5 hours of sleep as opposed to 6.5 hours of sleep, I'm not thinking to myself, man, I wish I didn't get those 2 extra hours of sleep. I'd be much better today. I can't say that's ever passed my thought. So, anyways. All right. Let's talk about, let's see what we got last. We're breezing through this. The international break, the rest period. Let's talk about how it worked. Facu went out to Uruguay. Pedro and Wilder went out to Peru, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah. So I was just literally writing down just the notes of time played and stuff like that. So Facu with Uruguay, 2 draws. They drew tonight. Who are they playing tonight? Dang it. Come on, Foot Mob, get it together.
They played Colombia a couple days ago. I know
they
that.
played Venice. They played Venezuela tonight, and then the first game was against Paraguay, I think. Yeah, and then Peru played Colombia, and today they played Ecuador. So Peru lost 1-0 tonight, tied 1-1 against Colombia, which is an awesome result for Peru, honestly. Wilder played 90 minutes against Colombia and 45 minutes against Ecuador. Gillespie played full-time both times. Facu got 40 minutes off the bench today against Venezuela, 10 minutes in the first game against Paraguay. And honestly, shout out to David Bracalo. Called up with Slovenia for the Nations League games over in Europe. 1-1 draw against Austria. He played 86 minutes and 3-0 win against Kazakhstan. Played 87 minutes. Like, big factoring into those games. I think they have him playing more. I didn't watch the game, so I can't say for certain, but it looks like they're almost showing him playing as more of a right back, which is interesting, at least according to FootMob. So, it's not perfect, but they definitely are showing him as playing right back. So maybe that's something to see if we try and go more to that 3 at the back formation, like we experimented with a little bit. Maybe put him at right center back, let Dagger kind of get more loose and free. Something we could see, but boys on international duty did some good things. So shout out to Wilder, Pedro, Facu, and Bracalo.
Man, Bracalo getting all that time. I hope that's good for the confidence for him to kind of step up and be what we were talking about earlier with kind of being that tent pole of the back line, because we kind of need it right now, because
I hope so too.
Janssen's aging, and every time Rodrigo Schlegel steps on the pitch, we have to toss a coin like a Targaryen.
I hope he gets the confidence. I've always liked him. I don't think he's had a couple bad matches, but overall, I mean, he's serviceable. The 3 in the back, I don't know if we could do that because we don't have any other center backs. That if something happens, we can put a guy in.
So my thought process there is maybe they do the thing that they did where they drop Wilder in as kind of like a third center back, and then maybe we could see the new signing Bruseth. Maybe we could see him play a little bit more since he's played 0 so far.
Has he even been on I don't think he was even on the 18
against Nashville. No, in Nashville he wasn't even in the 18. He was cleared to play though. We heard that he did get his ITC and visa and all that stuff sorted. So realistically, Saturday against New England could be the first time we see him.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see. As a U22 player, you kind of have some sort of expectation.
A little bit, yeah,
that he's going to make a little bit of an impact. So.
And we're going to need him through these stretches when we're going to be doing some of this rotation. So even if he's only getting 30, 40 minutes off the bench in one of these next 3, it could be a good indicator to see what we're working with, because he's young. So it does help.
We got 7 games left, and it's about 40 days until then. And realistically, 6 of those 7 games are going to be in less than a month, because there's an international break at the end of this. So it's going to be busy for the next couple weeks.
Yeah, there are 7 games left, and 6 of the games are 2, 3. I'm getting ahead of myself. 2 of the whatever. We have 3 games.
Midweek games
for the next.
We got midweek games. We got you.
So.
over
Yeah.
40 days, and 6 of the 7 are played within what, a 16-day
16 of
span?
those days. Yeah,
We're good at math.
kind of.
Gotta
It's 10
stay
o'clock at
hydrated,
night,
folks.
Yeah. So I spend all my math at the bank every day.
Dude.
Everybody has more money than me.
That's why I like to joke so much with Cleon about the spreadsheets, because like my job legitimately is looking at spreadsheets all day. So
That's Cleon's job too. It's just he decides when he wants to do it.
spreadsheet about that chocolate cake, man. I'm telling you.
Must be nice. Cleon did all right. The Bermuda did fine in the storm, if anybody was wondering. And he is 1-0 in the podcast league, and apparently he's trying to be mid in the second league, but we'll see.
Yeah,
I don't buy it.
He absolutely destroyed me this week, and it was all my stupidity because I started the wrong 2 Bears. This is what I get. I start Caleb Williams in his first ever game, and he does terrible.
Well, that was your first mistake. You were
Like
going so homerism.
Oh,
that
100%.
was his fourth mistake because he drafted the Bears to begin with.
Hey,
True.
Santos had a good game, and the Bears defense had a good game. Nobody else on the team had a good game, especially not the offensive line, but that's neither here nor there. At least the Bears won. I went 0-3 in my fantasy league, so
same. I had a really bad go of it. Shut up.
2-0 for your boy.
Number 1 in our hearts.
Anyways, yeah, the Bears defense, I mean, I guess I'll wait till the shoutouts, but man, impressive performance. Impressive. All right, preview. Are we going to do both games? We're going to preview both games, or are we going to plan on potting?
No, we should have an episode. We should have an episode before the next game, realistically.
Okay.
So
probably getting out, like maybe we'll release it Wednesday morning or something. See if we pod Monday, maybe Tuesday. We'll
or maybe
see,
pod Monday. Yeah, I mean, back to like old time's sake.
All right,
so busy, man.
Dude,
it's rough,
you're
man.
Telling me. You're telling me.
Throw on Monday Night Football, have it on the TV. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Monday Night Football. We're automatically out. Got to go Tuesday. Forgot about that. Anyways,
wait, who's playing this next week?
Is it the Giants? Then we can record.
If it's the Giants, don't. No. We're playing the Commanders. If they put that on Monday Night Football, they're just trying to get the nation to go ahead and off themselves. My favorite post I saw on Twitter this week was the fact that the Giants and the Panthers have a game in Germany. And someone said, "What did Germany do to deserve this?" And someone just replied, "You know what they did."
Just an update. It is Falcons Eagles for week 2 Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I'm probably good on that. Actually, I don't want to watch
that. Yeah, watch the 2 most overrated quarterbacks in the NFL go against each other.
Ooh, hot takes McGee over here.
Is it though?
No, it's not. I agree with it. I've never been a Kirk Chainz fan, and yeah, I'm a bigger hater of Nick Sirianni than I am of Jalen Hurts, though.
Not your boy.
Well, obviously, I'm the biggest hater of him. So
I think it's funny to see the top 10 quarterbacks getting paid, and not one of them's not Patrick Mahomes anymore.
It's wild, man. I think his agent should probably relook at the fact of why did we have you sign a 10-year contract? Like,
they could fill the roster, and now they got good players, and the defense, man, is stout. So
did this just turn into an NFL podcast? I don't know.
I don't know, man.
We just start something here?
I'm trading Super Bowl wins for $5 million anytime.
That's
especially
fair.
When you're already making 50.
It's true.
Plus, he's getting all that State Farm money. I mean, he's also now he's doing commercials with Danny Rojas, for goodness sake.
There you go.
He also gets to hang out with Taylor Swift like 3 times a week. So
get to watch Taylor Swift get drunk at the U.S. Open.
Not a horrible. Now we're getting into a tennis podcast.
Oh boy, we're covering everything, and an entertainment podcast, realistically. So,
all right. What do we think of New England Saturday? Caleb Porter on a hot streak. I'm sure he's going to get. I don't know if they've released the fine, but he wasn't too happy. I didn't even watch the rant, but I'm sure it had something to do with the referees. Would be my guess. Did I have that right?
Usually, yeah.
I just saw the everybody talking about it and him saying Don Garber can fine him. So welcome to my world, Caleb Porter. I would be if I was employed by MLS, I wouldn't be employed and I wouldn't have a bank account because Don Garber would take all my money. So the guy's the worst. But yeah, he's on a hot streak. Hopefully that doesn't mean that his team gets an extra layer of motivation to want to do anything, because we got him on Saturday at home, 7:30 p.m. start. I'm just gonna go with the flow, and I'm gonna say 3-0 because why not? That's been the score line lately.
Who you got scoring?
Ooh, see, I was just thinking 2 seconds before that you were gonna ask me. I'll say Facu again and a Duncan brace.
Ooh.
Because I like
awesome.
your thought that Duncan's gonna start.
I like it. I mean, for me, 3 draws, 1 loss, and 1 pretty big win in their last 5 games. Nothing super spectacular for New England. I'm kind of with you. I'm not going to go 3-0 because I'm not going to steal your thunder, but I do like the sound of a shutout. So give me 4-0. Give me the Duncan Hattie and a Facu goal in there as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to keep speaking it until it happens, Like, that's all I can do. So
I think we'll get maybe Ojeda will score because I think we'll get a set piece goal, like a true set piece goal.
maybe the Olympico finally happens.
I was just gonna say you got to speak that into being too.
I just
There's only
want
so
that
many
to
things
happen
I
like
can
in
try
a
and
more
speak into
meaningful match.
existence.
I can picture it happening while we're up like 4-0 and then putting an Olympico in and just meaning absolutely nothing. But that would be par for the course. So,
Wouldn't it be
Ryder, what you got?
crazy if he got the Olympico and got a hat trick?
I mean,
maybe that. Well, he won't let him take penalties, so it'd have to be a natural hat trick. You got to think Facu's the best chance to get a hat trick just because of he's
We've
the
been
penalty guy.
so close. We've been so
And,
close.
like, when they happen, it's with penalties. I feel like at least one. So, yeah.
For me, I'm going to say 3-1. I think that, like you guys said, Facu's got a good chance to score in this one coming off the international break. I'm going to give Duncan a goal too, and I'm going to have a little spicy one. Enrique off the bench.
I'll take it.
I'll take that too. I think we got to win. That's all I know. I don't care if it's 1-0 or
baby.
7-0. We just have to win. We got to win to even have a chance at sniffing that 4 seed, and to give us some momentum heading into Wednesday against Charlotte. Charlotte's got to go to Montreal and then come to Orlando, so not an easy week for them. And who knows what Montreal's been god awful, but who knows? You never know. Charlotte hasn't been great. They lost to Atlanta their last time out, so they haven't been awesome. We'll get a test to the rest theory because New England did play this past week, and we did not. So we'll see.
Go.
We'll see if we'll have an excuse on Tuesday when we talk.
That's true.
Not a good one, but it's
No,
definitely
not
an
at
excuse. So, all right. Shout outs. I'm going to let Ryder go first.
Okay. My family always gets together for most Bears games. We've been watching so much soccer. Most Bears games and watches at my parents' house. This year, I bullied my dad into replacing his 11-year-old Vizio 1080p TV, and he finally got a 4K TV. I was very happy with him. I was proud of him. I thought I was going to break the TV by the end of the half. My mother was screaming at me. I did not get my sports psychoness from my father. I got it from my mother, and that is always on display during Bears games when she's screaming at me. Alex, I thought that the Bears were supposed to be good and that Caleb was the one. This is why I am the way that I am, everybody. And then the second half happens. And the stats that came out of this were absolutely crazy. since I believe it was 2000, 2 out of for teams that did not score a touchdown and were down by, I believe it was 14 or more, were 2 and 303. And guess what? The Bears were involved in one of those 2 other games. One of the other games was the "they are who we thought they were" game back in 2006. We went to the Super Bowl that year. Just saying. I don't think we're going to the Super Bowl this year, especially considering our offense is not looking good and we're already down, I think, 2 receivers. But man, that comeback was fun. Simone Biles' husband, scoop and score, the interceptions, Cairo Santo looking good. I got hope in the defense and special teams, but Caleb Williams still making history as only the 4th first overall pick quarterback to win his first game, and he did nothing. He got a 2-point conversion throw to Swift, and that was it.
Your shout out should be to Will Levis for throwing the worst interception I think I've ever seen in my life.
And then immediately falling to his knees going, "Oh no."
The fact that he threw a surrender cobra in real time as it happened, like he saw the guy start to run up and he got up and literally just
the Skycam operator did him dirty on that shot too, because he's right over it.
To be fair, he deserved it. Like, I'm not trying to mince words. That was arguably uglier than the Daniel Jones pick 6. And that, to be uglier than that, takes some skill.
I got to be honest. The surrender cobra is always, it is exactly what it is, and it's always absolutely legendary to see. And Alex and I know it pretty well this year, being Florida State fans. So,
well, did you see half
my time has been the surrender cobra?
Yeah. Did you see I think it was a Florida State fan on the concrete, like with a beer next to him, and he's just super sad. And then they cut to him like a minute later and he's super happy because all his friends are texting him. That guy's, I feel bad for him, because for the rest of his college career, he's going to be getting all these, "Hey, you're the surrender concrete guy," and then you're looking happy because you got put on TV.
Yeah, I think that was a Gators fan, but either way, it's been a tough start for both of us for sure. Gators got absolutely slammed. So, but hey, at least UCF's playing well. Mike, what's your shout out?
I'll go ahead, and these past 2 friendlies that just happened for U.S. soccer were terrible. But shout out to them for taking a chance and swinging on getting a real manager. Mauricio Pochettino was just announced that he's going to be taking over the helm as coach of the U.S. men's national team. Apparently, an article from The Athletic came out, and they were talking about the fact that they wanted to, being the fact that they're technically a nonprofit organization, they needed to make sure that, like, it wasn't be a problem to get the money, but like to pay him, but like figuring everything out was a pain in the butt. And apparently, they got like a big donation from a member of the community who was, trying to buy a club and stuff recently and trying to help out. So regardless, they were ambitious about wanting to hire a coach, and they didn't go with like a Steve Cherundolo like everyone kind of expected them to do. Going out and getting a guy who managed Tottenham, Southampton, Chelsea, Paris Saint-Germain, that shows some ambition. I'm happy to see it. And also shout out to Cappies once again. I know we talked about them at the beginning of the show, but all love to Adam and his family and they're in that restaurant. And hopefully community does some good right by them this weekend.
I got a question, Mike.
Yeah.
First out, shout out to Cappies. It's really sad I'm an out-of-towner, but those are the 2 best Cuban pork sandwiches I've ever had. One on purple bread. That was very fun. Here's my question. The U.S. soccer is technically a nonprofit?
Correct. Yeah, 501(c) I think is the designation.
Explain to me then why ticket prices are so
dude,
high.
I do not know. I knew exactly. I knew what you were ramping up to. I don't understand because it makes no sense.
There's
to
no
me.
one at these two friendlies. Like, I didn't even watch on television because they mean nothing, and it's just a placeholder manager. I don't even know who the manager is right now. I'm
It's
just waiting.
Mikey Veras, and he does not sound confident in interviews. I mean, he's a grown man named Mikey. As someone who was a Mikey previously, you want to get rid of that at some point. Unless it's a stage name or something, but I ain't performing for squat. So,
my shout out is to the Seminole Hard Rock Sports Betting Casino. They successfully took all my money this weekend, and I also am going to shout out the 100-inch TV in the living room because at least I got to watch it on the big screen.
And they will take more of my money this weekend.
I'm sure. I saw something today. It's called the Bozo parlay, and I was thinking we should do it. And it's in your group chat. You take everybody puts in a bet that they think is a for sure bet, and they share it, and you can't duplicate it. And then one guy has to put the first bet in, like $10 or whatever, on the parlay. And obviously when it doesn't hit, because it's like a 10-leg parlay, when it doesn't hit, you spend the week deciding who the bozo was. So like who had the most idiotic, like, oh, this team's going to win, but then they lost by 40, or maybe they were the only person to get the pick wrong, like 9 out of 10 hit, and that guy's the bozo. And then the next week comes up and everybody puts in their one leg, and then the bozo from the last week has to be the one to pay the $10 to put the next bet in. And if you win, you put it in your group chat funds and you do something fun with it.
I like that idea, but realistically, I think the only ones of us that do anything in there is you, me, Graham, and Cleon. So,
well, we can have a 4-way bozo. I think we might actually win a couple, honestly.
I mean, like I said, I was happy.
Unless Graham is gonna put his picks in the way that he did his draft, and in that case, I have no confidence he'd be the bozo.
Shout out to you, Graham. I told you right off the rip, I did not like your draft. Sorry, man. But
he's sending out trades left and right.
He said I'm his number one hater. Does he not understand that he beat me in the championship last year? Like, if there's anybody that can be the number one hater, it's me.
The guy that lost you in the final.
Yeah. And apparently he now has the belt.
Points this week.
He does have the belt. I gave him the belt. So
did you actually have to go to his workplace?
No. Me and him met up somewhere else to drop it off. But I was getting tired of holding on to it because I'm moving soon. So he lives here. I'm not moving with the belt that I got from Matt that was stuck in South Florida for a while.
77 points from Graham, the defending champion this week. I got us chalk it up for things you just love to see. All right, boys. You guys got anything last? Any last words? Anything else to add?
Nah, man. Let's just go get this dub over the weekend, and then let's get some gambling dubs for you and me. And I'm not going to try and wish the Giants win. So just fantasy football. I'd like to turn things around.
And maybe our players and certain players for the Dolphins need to be more careful when driving to games. That's all I'm going to say there.
I already put my bozo parlay in with my two buddies. We're doing 2 picks each. Mine was Josh Allen and CD hit Lamb anytime score.
It's not bad.
If anybody's looking for things to lose, there it is. All righty. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you all. We'll see y'all on the Den After Dark on Saturday, 30 minutes after last kick. Hopefully we go and get this dub, and it'll be a fun one. And we'll be looking forward to Charlotte and seeing where we're at in the table at that point. So thank you guys again for listening. As always, Vamos Orlando. See y'all soon.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Orlando Lions Den podcast. Don't forget to follow us at Orlando Lions Den on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. See you next week in the Den.